You want to make more money in your 20s to be financially free and have time freedom and have the best life possible. I want to teach you the 7 things that I would tell my younger self, and I would tell anyone who asks me what to do in their 20s in order to have that financial freedom that they want. If you're new to my channel, my name is Dawson, and my whole purpose here is to teach you all the financial stuff that I've learned over time and the things that have helped me get ahead much faster so that you can hopefully do the exact same thing. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do, number one on the financial move list, is get a high paying job or a high paying skill. And I know you've probably heard this before, you've heard other people say it, but it is so important. Earning money, especially right now in our almost recessionary time, is so critical. If you can earn more money when less money is being put out there, you become infinitely better off. No, they're not just handing out high paying jobs, but there are 2 ways you can go about getting one of these. Getting a high paying skill is accessible to everyone as long as you have a little bit of money, maybe a couple $100 for some courses. Maybe if you have a bachelor's degree and some course like certifications, or if you don't have a bachelor's degree and you have a trade, you can get a trade for relatively small amounts of money that can earn you over 6 figures. I've seen this with firefighters and police officers making over $70,000 to $80,000 now. There are tradesmen like welders, heavy machinery workers, different types of divers making well into the 6 figures, truck drivers. And then if you go down the more collegiate route and you earn a bachelor's degree, you can pile that on with certifications. My specific example is getting a bachelor's degree, and over time I've stacked on courses from PMI in project management, and I will get Agile certified from Blue Mountain Goat. These are stacking, and every certification adds dollars to my hourly rate. The skills are accessible for everyone to learn. There is no barrier of entry to learn some of these skills. Maybe a couple hundred or a couple $1,000s to get into a certification program or to get into a trade program, but the skills are there. You can find a way to get there. The job part gets a little bit harder, especially when you don't have the skills. If you have the skills and the experience, getting the high paying job is relatively easy, especially when a lot of these trades or a lot of these jobs are actually understaffed. Hard to believe, but high paying jobs are understaffed because they can't find enough people. Getting a high paying job though when you don't have the skills is a little bit harder, and the main way that you can do it is by having one good connection that knows someone at the company. So if you have good connections, you can get high paying jobs. I learned this lesson the hard way, but high network or having a good network of loose connections with people is so important. The second financial move I'd tell anyone in their 20s is to live as low below your means as possible. I know everyone thinks that 20s is the time to live it up, the time to be carefree, the time to like drink all the bottles and have all the parties. It's not. 20s is the time to set your life up for having so much success that you are just partying the 30s, 40s, and 50s away, okay? Living below your means doesn't have to be bad either. There are different situations that everyone's in. I personally am in a situation that allows me to live much below my means, but living below your means essentially means having a really high savings rate. So if you're in $50,000 and you can live on $30,000, that $20,000 is your savings. If you make $100,000 and you live on $50,000, now you're saving that $50,000. So you can see how this expands exponentially if you can earn more and save a higher percentage of your income, you can be much better off much earlier in your life. The third thing you want to do as the third financial move is to invest often and invest a lot. When you're in your 20s, you can make an investing mistake and recover from it, especially if you're living much below your means, especially if you have a high paying skill and a high paying job. You don't have to worry about a lot of the things. Maybe you haven't gotten married, maybe you don't have kids, maybe you don't have a pet, you don't have a lot of responsibilities tied on you yet. This is the time to invest as much as you can earlier because you never know what's going to pop up later. Personally, I'm investing as much as I can into my 401k. I'm doing a little bit of my own personal SP investing, and I'm putting money into crypto. And an example of investing often and a lot is just putting what you can in every month, but making sure you're investing something every month. The fourth move you're going to want to do is to only use smart risk. There's always risk available, whether you want to go into meme coins, you want to leverage out hard on some rental properties, you want to be in the Airbnb craze, you want to rent cars out, you want to start a business. There's a ton of risk that you can take, and risk is actually advised if you want to make more money. But there are smart ways to go about risk. For example, start a service-based business, not a product and inventory-based business, because the costs are different. This has a high investor cost, this has low investor cost and easy to test. So this is a smarter risk. Investing into Bitcoin versus investing into meme and altcoins. Bitcoin is the smarter risk, okay? So use smart risk, invest in things like S&P 500 indexes where over 10 years, you're definitely going to be in the green historically. So instead of stock picking, right? So there's ways to use smart risk to your advantage. Number 5, I think this is something that everybody wants to do. Some people just don't know how to get started, and it took me forever to learn how to get started. But number 5 is start a cash generating business or a cash generating machine. It doesn't have to be a lot of cash. If you're making an extra $500 a month or an extra $1,000 a month that you can either invest, save, or put back into the business, or just play around with that money and buy yourself like your Louis Vuitton handbag or your car payment or something. Take one of your payments away, maybe like your rent payment. This is such a financial cheat code. Getting that cash generating business sounds really hard, and it actually is hard when you don't know what you're doing. This is the place I was in for a very long time, but hopefully with this channel I can teach people how to actually do that as I'm learning it myself. The 6th thing you're going to want to do for your financial moves in your 20s is to avoid looking rich. The main thing I would say about this one is, wouldn't you rather avoid looking rich in your 20s and end up actually being rich or wealthy in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, buying all the cars then, enjoying it all, being able to take your time off and live with your family happily? That's basically what I said. It's doing it in your 20s is cool, but having it for the rest of your life is even cooler. The 7th and final thing I would say is delay gratification on the big things as long as possible. So going out to eat for lunch is not a huge deal. That's something I like to treat myself with. But things like buying a new house, buying the cool car, buying the Louis Vuitton, going on the vacation. I get that there's some things you should do in your 20s to really enjoy and balance your life. And everyone has different things that they want to balance themselves out with. But do you need a new Corvette at 20, right? Do you need the Hellcat at 22? No, probably. Delaying gratification on the huge purchases can save you a lot down the road, especially because these huge purchases are probably going to be financed and you're going to end up paying $10,000, $20,000 in extra payments due to the financing. So I would say enjoy the small things, treat yourself to the small things, the dinner out, the movie night, the this, the that. Delay gratification on the big things, the houses, the cars, the watches, etc. If I was 20 years old again, this is the 7 things I would tell my younger self, and these are the 7 things I would tell anyone if they asked me today how I got to where I'm at and what I would do differently. These are the 7 things I would do, and I hope that they provide you some value. In the description, I have a survey. We are taking a survey on what people want to see on the channel, what kind of information you need to be financially better off. Please fill the survey out if you like the video and if you provide value in the video. The survey is free and it only takes a couple minutes, and it greatly helps us to provide the value that we want to provide, all right? Thanks for watching the video. Hope you have a great weekend. See you in the next one.